Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
All right, thank you very much, Ken Johnson. Glad you're with us with Joe Daniel. This is Greg Bicouvaris. This is the premier sports interview show in the state. This is Sports Scene every Wednesday live right here at 12 to 1 on News Talk 1650. Also anywhere in the world on TuneIn.com by typing WHKT in the search box. And, of course, I want to welcome TuneIn Sports. They got a new website as well. But TuneIn.com, all you have to do at this hour is type in WHKT. You can follow and subscribe both on TuneIn and on GJBTV.com by hitting the YouTube channel. Tell your friends about 1650. Happy summer, August 24th. Twitter, 5 Twitter handles: Greg Bick, Sports Highlight, GJBTV, HR One Line Malcom, and WHKT AM 1650. Thank you to our military, great guest lineup as well. We'll talk to Tim Strachan of the Maryland Football Radio Network just here in moments. Guest lineup presented by Mi Casita Mexican Restaurant with 2 locations in Virginia Beach. You can see them on Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com in the restaurant section. Phone line presented by Newcastle. Sponsors in August: Fink's Car Care, Spaghetti Eddie's, Long's Billiards, Newcastle Crawl Space Stores, all on GJBTV.com and their sponsors, as well as Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. Big announcement for our guest for next week. That will come during Brian Parsons' segment at around 12:35. Huge announcement. This guest, his father was probably the biggest name in college sports at one time in the 20th century. That big of a guest. You do not want to miss Sports Scene next Wednesday. Save the date, tell your friends, whatever. You do not want to miss Sports Scene. Biggest guest in the history of radio in Hampton Roads on Sports Scene as far as sports next week. But this family name was polarizing throughout the country as well. Great interviews, business segments, highlights, commentary, what teased me off. We'll do testimonials from C.P. Shucker's Buffalo Wild Wings, Tokyo, and Mattress Air Foam. This is Sports Scene. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. At Greg Bick on Twitter. That's GREGBIC. We'll be back after these messages.
The place to go for U.S. rare coins is Newcastle Coins and Collectibles in Chesapeake. They specialize in U.S. and silver and gold coins and provide free verbal offers and are always buying U.S. rare coins. Newcastle Coins and Collectibles, 681 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake, across from Chesapeake General, open Tuesday through Saturday and always online at NewcastleCollectibles.com. Call 757-609-3633, 757-609-3633 for Newcastle Coins and Collectibles.
People in Chesapeake and Hampton Roads have come to expect the finest Italian food at Spaghetti Eddie's. In addition to great lunch and dinner served daily, this fine establishment caters to and can host your party. Call 484-7301 for their Taylor Road location and call 410-5500 for their restaurant in Greenbrier. For more, log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com.
Sports Scene, Hampton Road's premier interview show with Greg Bicouvaris, each Wednesday from 12 to 1 on AM 1650 and TuneIn.com.
It was a very proactive role for one gentleman, but the Board of Visitors and Wood League and the president kind of let him know that there is a pecking order involved.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and listen weekly as Greg interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Wednesdays at noon on AM 1650, The Answer.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to GJBTV.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene on 1650 AM and TuneIn.com.
And welcome back live to Sports Scene on 1650 AM, TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. Brian Parsons from Wavy TV 10 will join us in the second half hour. I want to welcome one of the color commentators for the University of Maryland's Football Network. We've had him on before. Let's welcome Tim Strachan. How are you, my friend?
Great, Greg. Thanks for having me on, man.
Great to hear your voice, as always. And, of course, hope your summer was really good. You went down to the beach. How was that experience with the family?
I did, yeah. No, it was a quick summer. I got an 8-year-old and 7-year-old girls, and trying to enjoy as much time with them. And it just, as I get older, everything seems to go a lot faster.
You're exactly right.
But we did get a chance to go to the beach, my whole family. So there was 20 Strachans in one house at one point.
Goodness.
And it was a lot of fun at Bethany Beach, Delaware, and it was a good time to get away, and now we're back to the grind again, get ready for the football season.
Yes, Tim, you're a remarkable story. A lot of people in the DMV know about your background, but go ahead and tell the people here in Hampton Roads, this is a rich sports and community town, that life has not always been easy for you.
No, yeah, it was going great for me when I was 17 years old. I was at DeMatha Catholic High School. This was back before the Internet. That's how old I am. There was no rivals. There was no 24/7 sports. There was none of that online stuff. There was only print magazines, and in many of those print magazines and preseason rankings going into my senior year at DeMatha Catholic High School, I was ranked as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the nation. A lot of times as number 2 guy, right behind someone we all know, Peyton Manning. We were the same year. But then I went to the beach, as I do with my family every year, and on August 5th, 1993, I just took a dip in the ocean after playing some volleyball and being active all day, and as I dove in the ocean, I broke my neck and became instantly paralyzed, and my world was turned completely upside down at the age of 17. But, it's been a struggle in some respects, but at the same time, I've had great support from family, great support from DeMatha, the community, friends and the like, and for the past 23 years, I've been able to, move on from not being able to walk or play football, but I've done some other great things, and I've stayed involved with the game, being the color commentator for Maryland this will be my 21st season with them. And I'm a lawyer at the FCC. I'm married, got two little girls, and all said and done, I'm sure some people would say, I probably wish things had changed or been different. But the way I approach life is you got to deal with what God gives you, and this is the cards that I was dealt, and I've tried to do the best that I can with it. And along with it, I'm a motivational speaker, and love to address audiences and talk about overcoming adversity and making goals and dreams for yourself. And even if you don't reach them, having goals and dreams allows you to maximize your potential. And at the age of 40, I look back on my life, and I realize I've actually accomplished a lot of things, even in the face of challenges and adversity. And it's what you got to do.
Right.
Everybody wishes that I wish I could have had the opportunity to play college football and maybe even beyond, but that wasn't in the cards, and I'm doing the best that I can with it.
You sure are. A really inspirational story. And I want to ask you one more question about that, because you saw the Olympics recently, the swimming and all the diving and so forth. And, we're here by Virginia Beach, and I'm constantly seeing people, and I really didn't know the exact way that the story happened for you, but constantly kids and adults are jumping into waves, diving into waves. Does that make you cringe? And would you recommend for the tourists out there listening now just to walk in the water, because you never know how the riptide's going to be? I mean, that's a serious question, really.
No, it is. I do cringe. But, it was something that as a wave comes, lots of people just dive into a wave head first, and, 99 times out of 100 or 999 times out of 1,000, people are going to be fine, but you don't know what's there. You don't know what the ground is like underneath, and that's what happened to me. I hit a sandbar or something, and it was just too shallow. Right. And of course, I recommend to everybody just take it easy, be safe. Don't go head first. Have fun. Don't be scared, but at the same time, be careful about what you do, because life can change in the matter of a second.
Let's talk about Maryland football, of course. Last year, a really tough year. They went 3-9. They lost their coach. 2 years ago, 7-6, and of course, 2013 they went 7-6 last in 2013 as well. Head coach now is DJ Durkin. He's got some familiar people from Virginia. Chris Beatty, who spent some time in Virginia Beach. Also, Mike London, who was the former Virginia football coach on his staff. How are things looking in the summer as far as you're concerned?
I'll tell you what, Greg. There has not been this much energy around this program in 21 years that I've been a part of it. Even when Ralph came in, there was excitement, and he did a great job those first 3 years going, I think it was 30-3. But the excitement that I'm seeing right now wasn't even there when Ralph showed up. DJ brings with him so much energy. It's hard to even really put in the words. You got to see him in action, and then it's infectious among the staff. And you go to a football practice, there is screaming, there is yelling, they are moving. Rick Court, the strength coach, who is like DJ Durkin's right-hand man, he does so many things other than just strength and conditioning, but he is also a guy who is so much high energy. And after every single play that they run in practice, Rick Court and his entire strength staff are jumping up and down and getting kids involved. And I think that's just the way DJ loves to approach things, and it really has had an effect on the kids. I think it's really raised their level of play. There's no doubt that Maryland has some talent on their team. They may not have as deep a talent as some other teams in especially the Big Ten East, but I think he's going to be able to raise the level of everybody. And if he can do that and everybody can play collectively, this team can be a pretty competitive team, and it's all because of DJ and what he's been able to do in the short time that he's already been at Maryland.
Talking to Tim Strachan, who's the color commentator for the Maryland Football Network now in the Big Ten, working with Johnny Holiday, of course. And you talk about Dirk, and he came with Harbaugh, from Michigan, so he's already bringing that high intensity. And, of course, he's familiar with Harbaugh because Harbaugh's brother, of course, is with the Ravens as well. Mm-hmm. So, of course, he brings that big game experience. He already was used to the Big Ten already.
I think he brings the same energy as Harbaugh. He just doesn't bring the weirdness that comes with Harbaugh. Yes. That guy is crazy. But he's learned from some of the best. He's worked under Harbaugh. He's worked under Urban Meyer. He's been in places where, as he says, everywhere he's gone, he's taken notes. And he's pulled from those guys, and he's understood how things have to work in order to perform at a high level. And there's still going to be a lot of rebuilding, and it's still going to take a lot of time at Maryland. But I think that DJ's really getting at Maryland at a time where there's a perfect storm coming. Okay, he's got the energy, he's got the excitement. Coming off a 3-9 season, to have the DMV area, people who are Maryland supporters and Maryland fans, to have them as excited as they are coming off a 3-9 season going into this season is a huge boost for the program. But then you look maybe 2-3 years down the line, and some of the recruits he's starting to get to commit verbally, at least, to the program, and the fact that this new indoor facility is coming, that's the perfect storm that I think if DJ can keep this thing going, that perfect storm is going to hit in 2 or 3 years, and this Maryland team, this Maryland program could be a force in the Big Ten. It's going to take a lot of things to line up, and I'm not saying that they definitely will be, but there is a lot of potential right now in College Park.
Right, they went 17-21 the last 3 years, the Terps did, but of course, new optimism around. Of course, it starts with Howard on September 3rd, but you look at the schedule, and no matter how you look at it, it's still going to play Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Nebraska. Mm-hmm. There's still going to be those tough teams on the schedule. Penn State's a natural rivalry. Maryland used to play them all the time, and of course, you got to mix them.
Don't tell Penn State people that.
Oh, I know. That's always a tough rivalry, and of course, FIU, Old Dominion plays them as well. So, of course, Maryland played Old Dominion a few years ago. So, how's the schedule look in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that can always look at the schedule. Now, I know coaches and players don't really do this, and they shouldn't. But analysts and football fans do. If you want to be extremely over-the-top optimistic, I think they could reach as high as 8 wins, maybe. Possibly 9, but I don't think in reality that's going to happen. Really, I think in reality they're going to be about a 500 team with a great chance of probably becoming bowl eligible, given the type of schedule that they have. They should win all their out-of-conference games, which is Howard, FIU, and UCF. And then they start off the Big Ten schedule with the bottom dweller, Purdue, and then they go to Penn State. So they could be going into Penn State as a 4-0 team. And that could be, really exciting for everybody. And I think outside of Ohio State, Michigan State, and Michigan, all other games on the schedule are winnable games. They're winnable games. I don't think they're going to win them all, but I think they're winnable games, and I think that the type of scheme he's bringing in offensively, the attacking style he's going to have on defense, which is, in my opinion, the type of defense that has always been successful at Maryland, is when they are attacking defense. I think these types of things are going to raise the expectations at Maryland, and I think they could be bowl eligible by the end of the year.
This is Sports Scene live right here on 1650 AM, tunein.com, type in WHKT to listen to your phone or your computer, talking to Tim Strachan. He's the color analyst for the Maryland Radio Network. And, of course, tell the fans what it's like to work with Johnny Holiday. A lot of people see him here locally on Masson during the Nationals games. He's a legend. I've had him on the show before, and he still hasn't missed a beat in all these years.
He really is a legend. He's awesome. I can remember, I live in Kensington, Maryland, which is a very, very small town, right in the middle of the whole metropolitan area. And I can remember being a small kid at the local Safeway, and my mom saying, "There's Johnny Holiday. You know, he does radio and television." And I was kind of in awe of him at that time. I could have been 5, 6 years old. Who knows? And then fast forward, 15 years from there. And I started doing the radio with him. Mm-hmm. And now 21 more years later, I'm still doing it with him. I consider him one of my best friends. It's been a great relationship. He's a consummate professional. He's so good at what he does, and he makes my job a lot easier. A great setup man, a great play-by-play man makes a color analyst job so much easier, and we have a lot of fun, and we have a great rapport. Also along with us is Scott McBrien, who's the other color analyst, a former great quarterback at Maryland, also from the area. I've known Scott since he was a little kid. He's basically followed my entire path. He played at the same boys club, Maplewood Boys Club, played at the same high school at DeMatha, went to Maryland like I did. Now he's doing the radio with me. So we have a good group of guys, and we got our statistician Brett Bassell and our spotter Steve Rear and our engineer Tom Marquito. We've all been together for a very long time, and just like a team on the field, we're a team in the booth, and we work well, and we have a lot of fun, and hopefully fans enjoy our call. Yeah,
work with Brett a lot on TV games, real gentleman as well, and when you talk about, the good thing, too, is you don't always agree with Johnny and McBrien as well on the games. And sometimes it's kind of comical and funny to hear you guys agree to disagree, and that's what makes radio so good.
Yeah, well, that's part of, too, our makeup. You know, Johnny plays off of me and Scott, and Scott and I, even though we've had the similar paths and we have a passion for the game, just like anybody else who's passionate about what they do, they can have differing opinions, and I think that makes for good radio. You know, it's kind of boring if you just keep agreeing with each other, and sometimes actually we'll just, if he takes one stance, I might take the other, only because I know the people who are listening aren't always going to side with him or me. And so to have two people having differing views on what's going to happen in the game or what needs to happen makes the whole experience more exciting and more fun to watch or more fun to listen to. And we have a great time with that.
Right. You talk about some of the players. We've heard a lot about Teldrick Morgan, of course, DeAndre Lane, and, of course, some other players as well, like, the ones that stick out. Malcolm is a really good player as well, Malcolm Culmer.
Yeah, Malcolm's an interesting guy. He's a wide receiver who's sort of always kind of been the third guy or lower, but he's worked extremely hard, and he's had a great spring and camp, and he's worked himself into one of the top 3 wide receiver spots. Another name you haven't mentioned on the wide receivers is DJ Moore. This kid is going to be unbelievable. He's not the fastest. He's not the most athletic, but when you take a step back and look at a person as a football player as a whole, he's one of the best football players on the team. He's disciplined. He's smart. He's very good at what he does in his craft. And there's a whole bunch of other wide receivers. You mentioned the transfer Teldrick Morgan, but you also have the Levern and Tavon Jacobs brothers. You mentioned DeAndre Lane. They have so many weapons at that spot, and other guys that are coming in as freshmen, Tino Ellis, and some of the DeMatha guys that are going to be there, DJ Turner. These guys are turning heads as true freshmen. They're going to contribute right away. So there's going to be plenty of places to put the ball, and that's what this offense is meant to do. It's supposed to put the ball in the hands of the playmakers, and then it's really a run-centric offense as well, and the running backs situation is probably the most improved unit on the entire team. It looked kind of dim at the end of last year, But with a couple of transfers, Trey Edmonds coming in from Virginia Tech, Wes Brown getting another chance, even though he has to sit out 3 more games due to a suspension. He's probably the best of the bunch. And then you got Ty Johnson, who's got kind of a scat back look, and then a couple more freshmen, one from DeMatha and Lorenzo Harrison, who has really turned heads. And coaches are extremely happy with the way that he's playing. Jake Funk, the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Maryland, he's also a true freshman that's going to get some run. So it's going to be really exciting to see what they can do on offense. Can they get things rolling? And then can this offense at this high speed, high paced, can they get teams on their heels and start to really have some success? I think if they have that success early going into the Big Ten schedule, it could really bode well for this team.
Do you think that you and Scott are a little bit more critical of the quarterback play since both of you guys were quarterbacks?
Of course, because there's no one on the field that's better than we were.
Right, of course. Yeah. So how do you look at what do you think about the Maryland quarterback for the upcoming season? I mean, has Durkin has he made it clear?
Well, it just came out right before you gave me a call. DJ Durkin put out a statement. Perry Hills is going to be the starting quarterback, and that's not that big of a surprise. Perry he's a hard-working kid. He's a former wrestler type of mentality kid. He's disciplined. He knows what to do in the off season to get himself ready. He's a natural born leader for this team, and it doesn't surprise me he's gotten a nod this early in the season. Doesn't mean he's going to be the starter for the entire year, but I think it's the safest, smartest choice at this time because he's probably going to be the guy who understands the offense the best, has the best grasp of the offense. Now, his only problem is I think he's physically limited in some respects. He's not a pure passer. He's not going to be throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game, but I think if he can get things going in the running game, he's got a very good a good running ability himself. So if things can start working there, it opens up the passing game, and you don't always have to be throwing the ball 30 times a game as long as you're very efficient when you do have to throw the ball. And when you spread the teams out defensively horizontally across the field, every once in a while you'll have an open shot downfield for big-time explosive plays. And that's what I'm expecting out of this offense. And I think Perry right now is probably the best guy for that job.
Final few moments with Tim Strachan, the color commentator for the Maryland Football Network. The Terps went 3-9 last year. A lot of optimism with DJ Durkin as the head coach, and of course, you want stability and so forth. Let's switch gears a little bit as well. You have a podcast too, and I want to ask you this too: how difficult is it for the Terps when you're right around the corner from the Ravens, right around the corner from the Redskins, to be relevant when the team is losing? That was very difficult, I'm sure, last year especially. But the Redskins and Ravens, it seems like mostly talk radio talks about them 7 days a week, and when they're not talking about them, they're talking about their next game. How difficult is that for the colleges?
Look, Greg, that's a great question because I think that is the factor that makes Maryland such a difficult program to make elite and keep elite, because when Maryland's not good, okay, which is going to happen. It happens to everybody. Happens to the best teams. Happens to Alabama. Happens to Ohio State. Every once in a while you have a down year. Maryland probably has more down years than those guys, but when there's a down year, you got the Redskins, Ravens, Orioles, Nats, Caps, Wizards. I mean, not to mention downtown D.C., downtown Baltimore, all the theaters, all the things. There's a lot of stuff in this area that's competing for people's dollars. So when Maryland's not good, there's so much more that people can go do. When Maryland is good, they say, hey, Maryland looks like it's having a good year. Let's go spend our $500 this weekend or whatever it is at a Maryland game because that looks like it's going to be a great bang for our buck. If they can get that sort of momentum going and get people interested, then Maryland can have some very good high production years, and they can string them, back to back to back. And as I talked about that perfect storm coming, there's some really exciting stuff happening in College Park, and when Maryland's good, people will turn out. The problem is when they're not, people won't.
Yep.
In Tuscaloosa, Alabama, if Alabama's not good, there's nothing else to do.
Right. DMV's got everything.
It's football or nothing. It's football or nothing, and that's just not the way it is, and that's just the reality of this area.
Not to mention the election's coming up, and I want to get your thoughts about that. With the election coming up, you are a lawyer as well. Have you ever seen, because people in our age range are paying, at least for the next 3 months, sure, they'll be keeping an eye on Maryland, Virginia Tech, and the Redskins, but this Trump-Clinton thing, once the debates happen, it's going to be must-see TV.
I mean, it's like trying to figure out what you're going to eat at a kale restaurant.
Right.
It's just none of it really seems appealing, but you're going to have to choose one or the other.
Right.
It's the most unbelievable political environment I've ever seen. I work a little bit in politics. I work in the Ledge Affairs office for the FCC, so I am in tune with politics, and I've never seen this. I've never seen it. Have no idea how it's going to turn out, and I have a feeling, and I'm a little concerned that this is the kind of environment politically we're going to be looking at for a long, long time, just because of how polarized politics are today.
Right, just a lot of say all, whatever you say, and don't offend anybody. Just it seems like the entitlement has gone on to senior citizens as well, and both these two are very much senior citizens. I want to get your thoughts too. The Orioles and the Nationals both seem like they're parallel with each other. Orioles not quite in first place, but they've done very well against the Nats the last two games. Orioles are 69-56, Nats 73. In 52, a lot of them are kind of like, some like the Redskins and the Ravens. They get where they need to get to, but sometimes they struggle in the postseason. And both those teams have only made it twice the last several years. Will this year be any different? And, of course, do you think the Orioles will make the postseason?
Yeah, that's a good question. I used to be an Orioles fan growing up because that was the closest team to where I was growing up. Although my grandfather and my great-uncle always talked about the Senators and everybody. And I was a huge Cal Ripken, Eddie Murray fan down the line. But when the Nats came back to D.C., and I say that on purpose, came back to D.C., when baseball came back to D.C., I became an instant Nationals fan. And, this whole Baltimore-D.C. rivalry is great. I think right now, today, with the series that's happening between the two, the Orioles are playing like a team trying to fight their way into the playoffs. The Nats are 8 games ahead of everybody else in their division and on their side. Right. So they're kind of in cruise control right now. They're not pressing. They're resting people. They're getting ready because they're definitely going to make the playoffs, and they want to make a run once they get into the playoffs. The Orioles, they're holding on. They're such a fun team to watch because chicks dig the long ball, and those guys can hit it. And they're showing that. And I think they are going to make the playoffs. And I know everybody in this area right now is just praying for what we call Beltway Series in the World Series. That would be awesome to see something like that happen. However, the Nats have a target on the Cubs, and they got to get past them first. And I think they can do it. I think this is the year where they really push and try to make that happen. And if the Orioles are there, then I'm going to root for them until they're going to go up against the Nats, and that would be a really fun thing to watch.
And what a year. Brand new coach for Maryland, of course. You got Johnny Holiday. You got Tim Strachan. You got the Redskins and the Ravens are going to play each other in October. You got the election. It just never stops. Not to mention the great traffic on 95 that's always there. It's
the greatest area in the world, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you got to come down to Virginia Beach.
Ever.
Hey, bring your family down to Virginia Beach next summer, Tim, and vacation down here too.
I've been down there. It's a wonderful place, and man, they have some great football down there on the high school level and some great athletes. And I hope some more of those guys come up this way once they're done with their high school careers.
Yeah, we'll see if Mike London and Beatty can both bring some of these 757 players there. They should, because you figured London went to high school here, and of course he coached at Virginia. So that'll be interesting as years go on.
This recruiting that DJ Durkin is doing right now is something I've never seen at the University of Maryland.
Right.
I've never seen this quality and this type of recruiting in all my years at Maryland. It's not a knock against past coaches. I just think it shows how special DJ Durkin may be, and that he did deserve this opportunity. The relentless style that he's got his staff on with regards to recruiting top talent in the area, which includes Virginia Beach. It's been unprecedented. And if they can keep these kids who are verbally committed for next year and the year after that, things are going to really change at Maryland. It's going to be different, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Best years are ahead. Tim, all the best to you and your family. Have a good rest of the summer. And, of course, good luck as the Terps right around the corner take on Howard at College Park September 3rd. All the best to you and Johnny and the great staff.
I appreciate it, Greg. Hey, I'd love to come on mid-season and talk some more football.
We will do that. And, of course, great to hear your voice, and you're an inspiration for everybody. Thank you so much, Tim.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you. All right, Tim Strachan right there, color commentator for the Maryland Football Radio Network. And, of course, Buffalo Wild Wings is a great place to watch all the great TV. Fantasy Draft Party, be part of it. Get ready for an exciting NFL 2016 season. 8 or more in your group. Draft kit, NFL swag, coupons, and much more. Contact Scott and the management at the Hampton location at the Peninsula Town Center at 4201 Kilgore Avenue. Very easy, off of 64, off Mercury Boulevard. Don't hesitate. This is the place for fantasy football, limited space, B-dubs in Hampton. Of course, regular season football is the best in the NFL. Wings, beer, sports. Go by and see Scott, the general manager, and the management at the Peninsula Town Center, Buffalo Wild Wings, where we're all looking for a great place to sleep. Mattress, air, foam, water. Of course, Savvy Rest, all organic, latex, chemical-free. They ship nationwide, based in the Denby section of Newport News. Give them a call at 706-2694. Go by and see John Smith and the great staff. Mattress, air, foam, water. They take your sleep very seriously. And, of course, digital air mattress, half price of Sleep Number. Always a lot of fun. You can see their link on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Stay tuned. We'll come back with highlights and Brian Parsons after these messages on Sports Scene.
If you're in the mood for a taste treat that's sweet and rich, here's a value lunch special right up your alley. A $15 gift certificate for the Royal Chocolate Company in the Virginia Beach Town Center, half off for $7.50. Indulge yourself with gourmet chocolates, chocolate-covered strawberries, truffles, so much more. Call 488-1010 and get your $15 gift certificate for Royal Chocolates, half price, just $7.50. It's on the value line. Call 488-1010. Your taste buds will thank you.
Nor'easter season is here, so don't get all wet.
Protect your house. Call Crawl Space Door Systems at 363-0005. Reduce your flood insurance, reduce the threat of mold and insects, and save energy. Crawl Space Doors, air vents, flood vents, vent covers, and fans can help you stay dry or get you dry quickly. Contact Crawl Space Doors for more information at 363-0005 or online at crawlspacedores.com. Stay dry, my friends.
Long's Billiards in Newport News is having a massive sale. 7, 8, even 9-foot tables are at an all-time low price, including Connolly, Brunswick, and Olhausen. 1,000 pool cues in stock are up to 30, 40, even 50% off. Over 100 pool tables also on sale. When gone, they're gone forever. Log on to longsbilliards.com. Call 599-3661 and visit them at 9906 Warwick Boulevard. Major clearance prices going on now at Long's Billiards.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email the show, bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com studios. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
And, of course, the highlights right here on this August 24th. Hard to believe, almost September 1st. Of course, highlights, you go to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows. I want to thank Tim Strachan right there, the color commentator for the Maryland Football Network. Always getting great guests. Catch up on archive shows. Like I said, just go to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link. Hear any of the past shows recently on Sports Scene right here on 1650. Shop on the Marketplace sponsors on the homepage of gjbtv.com in the Marketplace sponsors section. Save the date each week for Sports Scene 12 to 1. Big guest announcement for next week coming up in just a few moments. Don't turn that dial. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, visit. Great retail, marketplace, coupons, restaurant services, all in one section. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. That's HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Save the date for the Newport News Greek Festival Fall Edition, an indoor event. Commercial will be starting here on September 1st, October 20th through October 22nd. For more, log on to NewportNewsGreekFestival.org. We've got What Teased Me Off a little bit later. And, of course, another great place to watch football is CP Shuckers with locations on Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. People love their prime rib, seafood, and much more, and their specials. They showcase the NFL, NASCAR, Major League Baseball, college sports, golf, soccer, tennis. And, of course, like both locations on Facebook, log on to cpshuckers.com. Eat or be eaten at CP Shuckers. Check out their great website, Facebook page. Go by and see Matt, Mark, and Leon. Great appetizers, burgers, pasta, seafood, and, of course, desserts, all at CP Shuckers. The summer hotspot, great place to eat lunch and dinner 7 days a week. All right, we'll take a short break. Come back with Brian Parsons. This is Sports Scene. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. Greg Bick on Twitter, GREGBIC. A few notes, too, as well. We got what teased me off, like I said. A lot's been going on in the news about Lochte. Look, what kid hasn't lied? He's stretched the truth a little bit. Did he shoot anybody? No. Did he kill anybody? No. Did he beat up anybody? No. He did have some issues in Brazil. Maybe he was homesick. Still, he's an adult regardless, but let's don't crucify the guy. He's not the worst person in the world, and of course he will have redemption too. As far as Bosa's family, of course, you heard a lot about the kid that went to Ohio State that mother posted on Facebook. Look, each adult should be responsible for themselves. When mom or dad have to post behind you on social media as an adult, that's not good, but let's don't crucify him either. Let's take a little theme, be kinder and gentler to everyone we speak to. Stay tuned, we'll be back after these messages.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today.
Nor'easter season is here, so don't get all wet.
Protect your house. Call Crawl Space Door Systems at 363-0005. Reduce your flood insurance, reduce the threat of mold and insects, and save energy. Crawl Space Doors, air vents, flood vents, vent covers, and fans can help you stay dry or get you dry quickly. Contact Crawl Space Doors for more information at 363-0005 or online at crawlspacedores.com. Stay dry, my friends.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
And, of course, football season right around the corner. I want to thank Tim Strachan from the Maryland Football Network, of course. Again, what's big about Maryland is they got Mike London, the former Virginia football coach, as now one of their top assistants as well. I want to welcome Brian Parsons from Wavy TV 10, Fox 43. Brian and I are good friends, as well as his brother Tim. We've had Brian on this show on Sports Highlights. We've had Tim as well on Sports Highlights. How are you, my friend?
Greg, I'm doing fantastic. How are you, my friend?
Good, good. Exciting times with Old Dominion starting up, all the local schools. You got the NASCAR in Richmond. You got the election going on. You guys are breaking stories right and left. Shootings on 264. Wavy's all over top of it. Old Dominion's basketball team was just overseas. So a lot's going on right now.
Well, it's an exciting time to be alive. I'm so excited for college football and high school football and the NFL, for that matter, to start to kick off. I mean, it's the wait is almost over.
All right. Well, folks, you've been hearing me tease it for this, at least the first half hour. I've kind of kept it quiet who the guest is for next week.
Greg, the suspense is killing me. We were texting back and forth last night. I'm trying to guess, and you wouldn't give it to me. What's going on here?
So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little game with Brian Parsons from Wavy TV 10. He's going to have to guess based on the quiz, but I am going to reveal it. I'm not going to make the suspense go any longer. This person's father coached DJ Dozier. This person's father coached several people in the area like David Macklin, Keith Goganis. He was at one school for 62 years. The late Joe Paterno's son, Jay Paterno, will give us an exclusive 25-minute interview next week on Sports Scene. Of course, a lot of dramas happen over the years at Penn State. He is not going to be shy. He is going to be all-inclusive, and we are privileged to talk to Jay Paterno, the son of the legendary coach, Joe Paterno, right here on Sports Scene next week. Your thoughts?
Well, that should be an interesting interview. I'm sure he's going to offer some insight. Wow. That's a pretty interesting get there, Greg.
Yeah, you got to figure with all the stuff that family's been through, things have calmed down a little bit, but I mean, I have the utmost respect for the Paterno family and who he coached. Of course, that was a horrible incident with the Sandusky thing as well, but we're not going to really talk much about that. We're going to talk about football. We're going to talk about what's life like been for him the last 5 years, because his father was such a polarizing coach away from all the drama. And he had coached so many players like DJ Dozier and so many players from the Virginia Beach area. One of the last things Paterno said before he passed away, he said he needed a little bit of a vacation. He wanted to go to Virginia Beach, ironically.
Well, I'm sure I'm sure his son will offer a lot of insight. And Joe Paterno, from a football coaching perspective, his track record is undeniable.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's talk about Old Dominion football. We've had Harry Minniam on this show. We've had him on Sports Highlights. And, of course, people are not really going to say what the record, what their prediction is. Old Dominion last year went 5-7. They're still a school, a work in progress. A lot of talk this year was about, the stadium, the offseason, about the satellite camps, not too much about the roster. The quarterback situation should be still in play. One of the quarterbacks, Washington, was injured a lot last year, but it's right around the corner. They got Hampton on September 3rd. It's right here.
I think, when you're a team in transition, it's hard to believe. For me, it actually feels like it's been longer, but this is only Old Dominion's 8th football season. Mm-hmm. Doesn't it feel longer? It feels longer to me.
It started in 2009, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because there's been so many different. They started out as an FCS independent, and then they were in the CAA, and then they were the FCS FBS transitional period, and then now they're in Conference USA. So I think it's very difficult to predict where this team's going to finish in the rankings, because of the uncertainty of the roster and the experience or lack of experience that they have. Because they're still trying to build the roster to where they can redshirt their entire freshman class and have fifth-year seniors and go through that cycle. That takes a lot of time. And, I honestly, personally, I think 5-7, 6-6 is probably what we're looking at.
Mm-hmm. And they got 6 home games, of course. One thing I told Harry, I've told you this before, the one thing about the Virginia schools like UVA, Tech, and so forth, they're decades ahead as far as being at Division I. And what Old Dominion's done has been unbelievable. But, as you know, sometimes the natives get a little restless and they want to see a little bit better than 5-7 or 6-6. But I think the key word is patience this year, Brian. I still think it's going to be, they're going to have to play a tough Appalachian State team from the jump at NC State. This is not going to be an easy year either.
Absolutely not. That's in the in-conference schedule. Western Kentucky and Marshall, those are quality football programs the past 2 years. Last year, Western Kentucky finished in the top 25. The year before, Marshall finished in the top 25. Those are quality football teams. Now, some of the bottom dwellers of Conference USA may not necessarily be world beaters, but they're still Division I football teams with Division I talent that you have to go out there and beat them. And they were picked to finish 6th in Conference USA. Bobby Wilder is quick to point out that they've never finished lower than 4th in their 2 years in Conference USA. So he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Out to prove the critics wrong that this team deserved to be picked better than 6th place in Conference USA East, only ahead of Charlotte, who is having much bigger growing pains than Old Dominion ever did since they've started football.
We're talking to Brian Parsons from Wavy TV 10, Fox 43. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us live right here on News Talk 1650. Also, tunein.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Brian, tell the listeners out there how difficult it is for you guys in the fall when HU, Wayne Mary, UVA, Virginia Tech, they got brand new coaches too. Old Dominion's at home. You guys you got NASCAR going on in Richmond. You can only be at one place at one time. How much do you rely on technology and satellites to get you through the football season?
Well, you say one place at one time. Sometimes we'll go to a Norfolk State game, shoot a little bit of it, and leave, and then go to a Hampton University game, and then go to a Christopher Newport game. And well, basically on the weekends it'll be 2 people. It'll be me and Nathan Epstein are the only 2 people out covering all of that. That's it. No other help. As far as relying on technology, sometimes if we can't make it to a William and Mary game, their video department will shoot the game and send us highlights through what we call FTP. And they'll send us a minute of the game's best highlights and send it to us. UVA Tech, those games are always going to be on television. So sometimes we rely on the universities to actually help us out to send us video that we will air on the show. Preferably, we would like to gather that material ourselves. But again, like you say, when everything's going on at the same time, you have to kind of pick and choose where you're going to go.
Well, the good thing
normally that's going to be Old Dominion because it's a numbers game, and if they're getting 20,000 people a game, there's a lot of interest. And if School B is only getting a quarter of that, then you're going to put your resources to where the more people are.
I totally agree. And of course, the good thing is the first game, Labor Day weekend, you play Hampton, Old Dominion does, so you got 2 schools right there at once.
boom, we knock them both out. And then you also have Norfolk State plays William and Mary. There's a lot of cool matchups this year. It's a cool schedule for Norfolk State. I mean, they play Richmond, they play William and Mary. Last year they're playing Rutgers and Marshall. So it's not the murderer's row that they had last year. And they bring back the Labor Day Classic, so they're playing Elizabeth City State, which is kind of a tune-up game for Norfolk State, a Division II school, and somewhat 40 miles away. A lot of interest in that. I have high hopes for Norfolk State. I think Latrell Scott is a proven winner. He's won wherever he's been. This is his second year. He brought in a ton of talent from Hampton Roads, guys that you heard their names on Friday Night Flights every single week. And I think he's going to turn that program around. And it'll be if and when he does, it will be difficult for Norfolk State to keep him.
We do play-by-play in color for one football game in Newport News against whatever matchup from the south side of the peninsula at Todd Stadium. But what you guys do on Friday night, how difficult is that for you and Bruce and the staff, even the news department too? Because getting around Hampton Roads, whether you're on air or by car on a Friday, is daunting. And how much longer can that continue? Will that sustain?
Well, we use a helicopter,
sure.
So that's a little easier than we can beat the traffic that way. You just got to get the crews out. That is the one night where we actually do get help from the news department, and we have a crew. Usually, it's about me included. I guess probably 5 or 6 crews out, shooting 2 to 3 games and bringing it back, and cutting all the material and getting it on the air. It's hectic. It's organized chaos, as I like to call it, but. What do you mean as far as how long can this continue? What do you mean?
Well, as far as, as far as sustaining on a Friday night, as far as programming, because you also used to do the Bobby Walters show too as well, right?
We do that. That's at 10:45 on Fox 43, and then we have Friday Night Flights at 11:15. I mean, as far as I know, Friday Night Flights is a lucrative show. It's got the people are lining up to be sponsors for the show. So right. That's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as sustaining too, and have you ever seen in all your years working at Channel 10 and Fox a year like when the news with the police officer stuff, the drama going on, the interstates, the road rage? It seems like every night, Brian, it's must-see TV for local news. That has to make the news directors very happy. Of course, sports is normally slower during the summer. You have the Olympics, which had drama with Lochte and Phelps, of course, winning some gold medals. But every single night you turn on the news at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, there's always drama in Hampton Roads.
The 2016 has been a very, very interesting news year, not just in Hampton Roads, I don't think. 2016 is going to go down in the record books as one of those years. I mean, especially even think of the celebrity deaths. I mean, of this year of 2016 have been out of control, big names. You've got the shootings, the police shootings, police-involved shootings, and that's resonated even here in the area. With the Rankin trial was a huge deal, which took place literally right next door to the television station. So it's been a wild news year. It'll be. I'd like to see it calm down a little bit, especially with all the gun violence. Heck,
right around the corner from you in Portsmouth, where your office is based out of, with the mayor and all the different sheriffs, all the drama there alone is a story. You don't have to even leave your own city,
No, it's just everything happens across the street for us.
Goodness. All right, let me get your thoughts too. RG3's coming back to Washington as a Browns player this year. If he's still healthy by then in October, what are your thoughts about the Redskins? And did you think the Richmond camp was successful?
Do I think the Richmond camp was successful? I personally think the novelty is wearing off. Even with the team that won the NFC East, the crowds, there was heat. Everybody's going to have an excuse. Everybody has an excuse for everything, it seems like. Yeah. But the crowds are down. That's the bottom line. You can't go on TV and say, oh, it's a jam-packed, they're flocking. No, look at the eye test. Compared to the first year, the crowds are down. Not as many people are going. Not as many vendors are even going because there's not enough people there to buy what they're selling. I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up back at Redskins Park when this contract expires. I wouldn't be shocked at all. And if you dig through the numbers, it doesn't even look like it's that great of a deal for the city of Richmond. As for the team, I think the Redskins are in a pretty weak division, comparatively speaking, and I like the way they're building things. They've signed up guys like Jordan Reed, Kirk Cousins out to prove himself with a one-year deal. I think the Redskins are going to win the NFC East. RG3, I think every Redskins fan's fear is that RG3 2.0 is going to come back and have this great career. But he did look pretty good in a couple of his preseason games. But who knows? I can't predict the future on that.
And finally, Jeff Jones took his team overseas. Had a nice win over the French club, 55-40. They were the Vegas 16 champs. This summer Luau help them out for next season, you think?
I would think so, because they get extra practices. I don't know the exact number, but it's quite a few, and they're trying to mesh some new players into their system. And I'm all in on Jeff Jones. He's a quality basketball coach. He's a brilliant basketball coach, and I think it's time for Old Dominion to win that Conference USA tournament and get to the big dance, because it doesn't look like there's going to be an at-large bid in that league because the bottom dwellers are so bad.
Agreed. All right, Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, the top three. Talking to Brian Parsons. Brian, thank you so much, my friend. Let's talk again very soon in the fall. I want to get your thoughts about Old Dominion's TV package as well for the upcoming season. So, Brian, thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Greg, my pleasure. It's always great being on.
Go ahead and plug your newscast as well, Brian, your sportscast.
Oh, well, we have the Fox 43 Sports Wrap at 10:45, 15 minutes of local sports every single night on Fox 43, and we also have our 6 o'clock segment at 6:20 on Wavy TV and at 11:15 on Wavy TV. But if you want to get the goods, you want to tune in at 10:45 on Fox 43, 15 minutes of we try to make it all local sports, but sometimes national transcends local. But for the most part, that's where you're going to get your local sports.
Very good, my friend. Have a great rest of the Wednesday.
Yeah, you too, Greg.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful day out there.
It is. Go to the beach, everybody. All right. Brian, thanks a lot. Okay, thanks, you.
Greg.
All right. Let's get to what tees me off.
What tees you off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
And also Tokyo Grill and Buffet in Hampton at 49 West Mercury Boulevard. Proud supporters of the food bank. Great lunch and dinner buffet 7 days a week. When a pickup truck sounds like a plane, really enough with being revved up. When you're driving in a 3-lane highway and the far left and middle lane are going the same speed as the far right lane. People driving on shoulder lane, unless it's an emergency, please don't drive in the shoulder lane.
That is the worst thing you can do as a driver. That is horrendous.
You're like
just driving on the shoulder just because there's traffic. Like, who are you?
You're disrespecting everybody, but the state police will arrest you, too. People who are teachers and insecure themselves, folks, you got to be brave now. School's about to start. No insecurity for you guys. People who want credit and nothing to do to get it, oh, look at their rearview mirror. Front runners, we know who you are. Food that is prepared in vain, please cook it properly. Hamburger meat, Joe, that chews like leather. Commercials that are songs like Blue Skies, Rocket Mortgage, ugh, with those commercials. Superfood that lasts for 25 years. I'm leery of food that lasts for 25 days. 3 people needed for cashing out a bill at a restaurant. Joe, you have a new show coming up. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's called Picking Up the Habit. We'll be starting in September. Haven't picked a finalized date, but it will be every Saturday between 11 and 12. And I hope you guys can listen to it. We'll be talking about a bunch of different inspiring topics, and we're trying to motivate people to take actions and not just sit around and just talk about it.
Very good. Jay Paterno on Sports Scene next week from 12:05 to about 12:30. We'll be on till 1 o'clock. This is Sports Scene. I want to thank our guests, Tim Strachan, Brian Parsons as well. For more, go to GJBTV.com, HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Go by and see the good people at 1000 Degrees Pizza in Chesapeake on South Battlefield Boulevard. They cook it in 2 minutes, or you are going to definitely be satisfied with that great place. So, for Joe Daniel, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Go to GJBTV.com, hit the YouTube link. We'll talk to you soon.